You ever have one of those Mondays where you step out the door already half convinced the universe is out to get you? That was me, shuffling into my HOA-run gym, earbuds jammed in, ready for 45 minutes of peace to clear my head before life started throwing punches. Only, I didn't even make it to the treadmill before things took a hard left. There she was, the infamous Karen. Not a myth, not an internet meme, but real, clipboard in hand, eyes like a laser pointer, voice sharp enough to draw blood. "Excuse me, you can't be here," she said, and I remember thinking, is this some kind of prank? "I have a membership," I told her, but she just smirked like she'd won something. "Maybe I'll revoke your gym privileges." You know that feeling when you're waiting for someone to jump out and yell surprise. But nope, just Karen, all righteous indignation and hairsprayed authority, policing my very existence. Now, for context, this is a woman whose idea of joy is enforcing rules nobody's ever heard of. Improper stretching? You're on notice. Water bottle not matching the aesthetic harmony? Don't even try it. It was like working out in a library run by a dictator with a passion for passive aggression. But I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction of seeing me sweat. That's when the real fun started. Every single day, she'd watch me, eyes following me from the rowing machine to the dumbbells, making notes on her clipboard every time I so much as breathed in the wrong direction. Once, I swear, she timed my water breaks. But I kept coming back, kept playing her game, because I refused to let her win. Then, here's where the story gets wild. One afternoon, as I was wiping down a bench, I caught Karen whispering into her phone. It wasn't just any conversation. "Keep it quiet. Nobody can find out. Not now, not ever." You know when your gut just tells you something's off? I crept a little closer, careful not to get spotted, and heard enough to know there was something going on way bigger than gym rules. Something she was desperate to hide. That night, curiosity got the better of me. Call it foolishness or fate. Karen had left her phone on the counter, probably distracted by all the imaginary emergencies only she could handle. I checked around, no one watching. When I picked up her phone, my heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear myself think. The screen lit up, and there they were, messages, emails, photos. Let's just say, Karen was up to things that would make the entire HOA board lose their minds. This wasn't some harmless little secret. If it got out, her whole kingdom would come crashing down. Did I want to go nuclear? Not right away. You have to understand, when someone spent years intimidating everyone, you don't just blow up the whole place and walk away. You bide your time. You let them stew, keep your cards close, and wait for the perfect moment to flip the script. So, for a solid week, I watched her unravel. She'd strut around, barking orders, but I could see the panic behind her eyes every time her phone buzzed. The more she tried to rattle me, the calmer I got. I could practically taste the fear in her forced smiles, the cracks showing under her picture-perfect persona. And the rest of the gym? People noticed. Folks who used to duck their heads started meeting my eyes, giving me those little nods like, "Hang in there." You know what I mean? Something was shifting. That's when a wild card showed up, Eddie. He'd just moved in, ex-army, the kind of guy who looks like he's got a story for every scar. Karen went after him for slamming weights, but instead of backing down, Eddie fired back. "You want to write me up? Do it. Or maybe you should check your own rules first." Suddenly, it wasn't just me anymore. Now there was a second front, and Karen was scrambling. With Eddie in the mix, I had an ally, and a little courage is contagious. People started opening up. Old Mrs. Ramirez confessed Karen once tried to ban her for excessive laughter during yoga. Seriously, that's when I knew. This wasn't about gym etiquette. It was about control. One evening, after most folks had left, I slipped Eddie the highlights of what I'd found. Nothing crazy, just enough to prove Karen wasn't the hero she pretended to be. We made a plan, nothing theatrical, just careful steps to make sure when the time came, nobody could sweep this under the rug. But the twist? Someone else had caught wind of Karen's secrets. A board member's teenage daughter had seen some sketchy emails pop up on the family computer. Turns out, Karen wasn't so careful after all. Word started to leak. Whispers bounced around the gym, spilled out into the dog park, even made it onto the HOA's Facebook page. Like wildfire, man. One minute it was all rumors, the next, it was front and center. The board called an emergency meeting. Karen tried to play it cool, all innocent and misunderstood, but the evidence spoke for itself. Residents started lining up, sharing their own stories, threats, fake fines, her vendetta against anyone who so much as looked at her sideways. Even her old allies on the board turned tail. Loyalty built on fear doesn't hold up when the fear is gone. The decision? Karen was done. Suspended from all duties, her gym access revoked, her vote on neighborhood business stripped clean. The silence in the gym the next day was almost eerie. And then, bit by bit, it broke. People started talking, laughing, using equipment they'd avoided for months. It was like someone had thrown open a window and let the light back in. You'd think that would be the end, but nothing's ever that simple. Karen didn't go quietly. She tried to stir up sympathy, claimed she was the victim of a smear campaign, that the rules were just misunderstood. But this time, nobody was buying what she was selling. Even the folks who'd been afraid to speak out started sharing their stories. It was cathartic, honestly, like years of tension finally melting away. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was some kind of hero. Half the time, I was just hanging on, hoping I didn't make things worse. But I will say this, sometimes, doing the right thing means holding your nerve, even when it feels like you're standing alone. And that final showdown? Man, it was something straight out of a movie. Karen cornered a new member, started her usual tirade, but this time, I walked right up with my tablet. You might want to take a look at this, Karen. I played the audio, let the messages scroll by, watched as her face went from cocky to terrified in 5 seconds flat. People gathered around, nobody saying a word. The truth was undeniable. The queen had lost her crown. Afterward, the gym felt different. Lighter. People nodded as I walked by, like we'd all survived a storm together. I saw Eddie spot a kid on the bench press. Mrs. Ramirez led a laughing yoga group. And me? I finally got that peaceful run. Just me, my music, and the knowledge that we'd all stood up for ourselves, for each other. But here's the kicker. The scandal never really died, it just changed shape. Karen moved away, but the story lingered. The kind of legend that gets retold every time the HOA gets too pushy or someone tries to bring back the old ways. It's a warning. Abuse power long enough, and eventually, people fight back. So, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Think Karen got what she deserved? Ever had to face down a bully hiding behind rules? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know where you stand. Hit that subscribe if you want more stories like this, and don't forget to like and share. Let's keep the conversation going. Because sometimes, the real power isn't in the rules, but in the people willing to call them out.